Hello, everybody. I'm Ray Paulick, and Michelle Yu. Where is she? Where is Michelle? She's usually here giving me a hard time about my picks. Well, Michelle is in Saratoga for the weekend. Great place to be. So I'm doing the hosting duties in her place. So I'll have to make fun of my own picks instead of waiting for her to make fun of my picks. And I took a beating last week with. I went down with the ship, with Royal Ship, and Matt Bernier had a nice score with Tripoli. And we'll see who is. We got somebody here that's probably going to beat me this week. Who do we have? TVG's Joaquin
Hey,
Jaime. Welcome to Beach Boss. Are you ready to beat Ray?
hey Ray, good afternoon. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm ready to win. I'm ready.
Yeah, I last week wasn't that great for me. Royal Ship just did not run his race in the Pacific Classic, the TVG
hmm
Pacific Classic, I should say. And Matt Bernier had a nice pick, I thought, with Tripoli. Who did you
Yeah,
like in that
Tripoli.
race going in?
Well, our horses sort of ran the same and equally disappointing. I was on Express Train. I was going to give Express
Yeah.
Train another opportunity going a mile and a quarter. I talked to Juan Hernandez after the race, and he said he just didn't break the best because when he looked at his race before that in the San Diego, Juan had him pretty close to the pace. He was up on the pace. I thought that's where he was going to be. One said he just broke a little bit slower, ended up further back than he wanted, and it just wasn't his day. So my pick, Express Train, disappointed in the TVG Pacific Classic as well. And what about Tripoli? He's by I think he's by Kitten's Joy.
Getting
You
joy.
start on the grass, you think you're going to be a turf horse, and then all of a sudden, the last three races on the dirt, all three triple-digit Beyer speed figures. I think he put up a 104 Beyer in the TVG Pacific Classic and punched his way to the Breeders' Cup Classic at Del Mar.
Yeah, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was Kitten's Joy's first Grade One winner on dirt.
Wow.
Which, I mean, he's had a ton of good turf horses. That's one of the reasons I didn't like him. The race was run exactly like I thought it would be, that the winner would have the lead on the turn. It's not going to be a stretch running race. A horse like
hmm
Dr. Post wasn't going to win. But unfortunately, it was the wrong horse that got to the lead for me and for you, I guess, as well.
Yeah, exactly. I thought at least Royal Ship and Express Train would run a lot better, but yeah, now Tripoli throws his hat in the handicap division. In three races on the dirt, he's shown that he can't compete with the big boys now.
Well, I watch a lot of TVG, and I know I've known some of the guys that have been around the game a long time. They came from racing families. On your Twitter account, it says you're from Fresno, which is, they do have a racetrack in Fresno. But I'm kind of curious about your background, how you came to become a fan of the sport, and then end up working in the game at TVG.
Yeah, born and raised in the Central Valley in Fresno. For those that aren't familiar where it's at in California, if you were going to put a dot in the middle of California, that's where Fresno is. I'm different from a lot of my TVG colleagues. I didn't have anybody affiliated with racing in any way.
Hmm.
My parents were not around the game at all, so it's sort of unusual for me to find my way to the sport of thoroughbred horse racing. Mom and dad tell me I was a year old the first time that they took me to the big Fresno Fair. They said I just stared at the horses the entire time. So there was something there from an early age. My uncle was just a degenerate gambler on everything that you could think of, but he loved betting the ponies. So when I was about maybe 6, 7, 8 years old or so, he'd always had the racing form. He started showing me just how a basic understanding and reading the racing form. And from there, it was just one of those things where I just consistently followed racing and just loved it. I wanted to be a jockey when I was younger. Don't know exactly where that came from. That didn't work out very well, but it was just one of those things where I just consistently followed racing. And at the big Fresno Fair, there was only live racing 2 weeks out of the year. So mom would actually write me some excuses to get out of classes in high school, and I would go out there and meet my mom and dad and hang out with the races for a couple times during the fair meeting. And then I found myself up in the Bay Area. I received a soccer scholarship to play at St. Mary's in Moraga, up in the Bay Area, about maybe 30 minutes from San Francisco or so. And that's when I really had the first opportunity in my life to really go to the racetrack consistently between Bay Meadows, Pleasanton, and Golden Gate. And then I got the job with TVG, packed up a U-Haul in 2006, and been with TVG ever since.
Wow. 15 years then.
Yeah, my first and only job out of college. Started
Wow.
behind the scenes as a researcher, and then eventually transitioned to being on air.
So no media training at all, because you seem kind of like a natural on TV.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I got there were a lot of bumps along the road, but yeah, you just sort of had to figure it out. Maybe just like a double A or a triple A pitcher. You just got to go to the minor leagues and get your reps in and get your innings in, and hopefully you figure it out.
We're going to try to give you a bump or two on the road here today when we do the handicap the Pat O'Brien Stakes. For everybody who's tuning in that doesn't know, Beat Ray every day is a contest. It's not just the Fridays where we have a guest handicapper come in and treat me like a human pinata, but it's an everyday contest, $100 mythical win, place, and show wager on any horse or number of horses. And the person with the most accumulated winnings at the end of the meeting is the winner of 2 VIP tickets to the Breeders' Cup at Del Mar this fall. So it's kind of cool, and it's really not too late to sign up. The leader at this point, after $2,300 worth of bets, is someone named the Candyman, who's got over $3,600 accumulated. So he's doing really well. So as I said, the Pat O'Brien is the race we're handicapping. It's a win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup, and I believe, right? Isn't it?
Dirt mile, but the dirt mile.
That's right. Now it's a one-turn sprint race, but it's a prep for the 2-turn dirt mile, and it's not easy. Like a lot of these races, there's two to me obvious favorites in here, and that's CZ Rocket and Flagstaff, who finished 1-2 in this race last year. I kind of think maybe CZ Rocket maybe has lost a step in the last year. He had some good races this spring at Oaklawn. He was coming late in the Bing Crosby, but I'm going to go in a different direction. And I'm in this contest every day. I'm trying to finish the highest bankroll possible. I'm in the black. I'm at $427 after $2,300 worth of bets. So I'm ahead of the game, but I need to get more if I ever want to catch Candyman. So I look for a price play in here, as I oftentimes try to do. And when we handicapped the Bing Crosby, nobody really liked 8 Rings that day. And I mentioned him, and Michelle kind of poo-pooed him as having a legitimate shot. And I thought he ran his eyeballs out against Dr. Chevelle, and he almost won the darn thing. Since then, he's come back with 2 outstanding works. Bob Baffert has won this race 7 times. This is a horse that, every good yearling or purchased horse that goes into Baffert's barn, they're not thinking the Pat O'Brien, they're thinking of the Kentucky Derby. So like a lot of his 2-year-olds, he went down that path to try to be a 2-turn horse. His 3-year-old season was pretty much a wipeout, but he's come back this year. And this last race in the Bing Crosby was the kind of performance that they were hoping for as a 2-turn horse. I think he's going to be the sleeper in here. He's going to probably get bet down from, I think he's 6-1 the morning line, but I am all in. $100 to win on 8 Rings. Abel Cedillo is riding. As I said, Baffert has won this race. Now Sadler's won this race 2 out of the last 3 years. Peter Miller's won this race, the trainer of CZ Rocket. Sadler has Flagstaff. So it's a tough heat, but I am betting against the two favorites here.
And I talked to a Coolmore representative after the race in the Grade 1 Bing Crosby, and just followed up on 8 Rings with that second place finish at 16-1. And she told me that he actually twisted a shoe pretty badly at some point in the race. And there's a picture floating out there, either between the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club put it out, or Alex Evers put it out, who takes the photos. And if you can find it, it's actually a pretty remarkable picture, because in mid-stretch, you can actually see on the right front hoof, the shoe is actually barely hanging on. So considering that he only lost by a neck, that had to contribute to some sort of discomfort at some point during the running of that race. But yeah, I was maybe in the camp with Michelle going into the Bing Crosby on 8 rings last race, Ray, because I wanted him to prove it to me. He won the Grade 1 American Pharaoh, and then something went sideways. Something was just not right. They were trying to get him back on path. He was an underachiever after that, but maybe now he's on the correct path to getting back in the winner's circle.
Well, I hope so. That's not your pick, though, is it?
No. My first inclination was I was going to go to Flagstaff. I feel like Flagstaff is going to get that down. So for contest purposes, I'm going to go to a little bit of a longer price, and I'm going to go win place here. I'll go 50 win place on the 2 in Howbeit here for trainer Mark Glatt. When you look at Howbeit's about his last 9 dirt sprints, they're all very good. They're all fairly consistent for this 4-year-old son of Secret Circle. I think I have an improving 4-year-old at this particular point. He's had 20 lifetime starts, 6 wins. But when you look at his last 2 wins, he's really starting to get better at this point in his career. I'm always a sucker for versatility, and look at the way that he won his last 2 races. The inside, I know, is not going to be any problem. He was drawn down on the rail 2 starts ago at Santa Anita. He rushed up along the inside, dueled every step of the way, and then polished off the field by 3 lengths. So I know he can travel comfortably inside, which he's going to have to do in post position number 2. And then last race, he was always traveling well. Flavian Pratt always had a ton of horse sitting in behind his speed duel. He tipped them out and drew off and won very, very comfortably by over 4 lengths. He comes in here off back-to-back 99 Beyer speed figures, career best numbers for him. He's on the improve. 7 furlongs is going to be okay. So I'm going to take the improving horse who's going to be stepping up in class to Great Estates Company for the first time in quite a while. I'm going to look to the 2 Howbeit with Kyle Frey, looking for 3 consecutive wins.
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think those last 2 races had very impressive thoroughgraph numbers as well. So Howbeit is a horse, maybe the now horse. And, you know, I mean, the top 2, though, are very consistent. You talked about Flagstaff. He brings it almost every race. And this seems to be his best distance, too, 7 furlongs. So you're going 50 to win in place on Howbeit.
Yeah, I'll go 50 win in place on the 2.
So from a speed standpoint, though, you're going to have Brickyard Ride to compete with. He's going to be winging from the outside.
Yeah, there's going to be nobody that's going to be quicker than the 7 in the California bred in Brickyard Ride. I know he did win at 7 furlongs a couple races ago, and he did go gate to wire that day in the San Carlos. The Pat O'Brien is a much tougher field than I feel in the San Carlos. If you're going to go to Brickyard Ride, I think the question you have to ask yourself is, he's fast. I mean, you know he's going to go 21 and change quarter. He usually does. If he went 22, I just couldn't see. If he goes 22, then maybe good luck to everybody else. He's just naturally quick. He runs 21 and change quarters. He's going to be on the front end. He finished a close 5th in the Bing Crosby. I think you have to ask yourself, why do you think he's going to keep going and finish off the field now going 7 furlongs?
So what's the trip you see with Howbeit?
I think he'll be in behind the speed. I think 8 rings is fast.
Right.
Classier, even though on the turn back, I think he's going to be forwardly placed. But I think the 5, 8 rings, the 7 Brickyard Ride for sure is going to be forwardly placed. Flagstaff, he's tactical. He'll be forwardly placed, and then CZ Rock will be behind them. I'm thinking it'll probably be the trip for the 2 Howbeit. I think he'll probably be in a tracking role, maybe 2 or 3 lengths off the pace down on the inside, saving ground, and we'll see if Kyle Frey can work out a trip from there and hopefully stay out of traffic trouble down on the rail.
Well, I've been at Del Mar almost every day this meet. I've watched a little bit of TVG early in the card, but you guys are doing some exciting things with the different camera angles, and you've got the drone shot and the jockey cams and all that. How's that going over?
Everything's going very well with the camera angles, very well received. The drone, I think, has been the favorite for a lot of people, even over the jockey camera. I've had quite a few jockeys come up to me and tell me that their favorite camera angle has been the drone view. And one of the things that's pretty unique that we're doing, if you have a connected device and you download Watch TVG, Amazon Fire, Roku, Apple TV, whatever it may be. We take one race, and I think the last time we did it was for the Del Mar Mile with Morphosa winning. One race, 3 different views that you're able to watch. You're able to watch the traditional pan view, then you're able to have the jockey cam view, which we had on Flavian Pratt for that race, and then you also have the drone view too. So it's pretty cool when you could go back and get 3 different perspectives on one race, and it's certainly been pretty well received by all the viewers on TVG this summer.
Well, I said this to your colleague Mike Joyce too. The one thing I miss about being at the track and not watching TVG are those pre-race interviews, because I know that you guys really work to get good information out there for the betting public. And last summer when I wasn't at the track every day, it really did lead me to some good horses to either throw out or sometimes include that I might not have otherwise done.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the important thing about being a reporter out in the field is, our job is just to give you the information. Hopefully every single race is a different puzzle. Every race has a different theme to it. Handicap the race. What's the information you want to know as a bettor, as a gambler? And then I think for us as the reporters, let's just give you all the information that we can sort of gather for this race. And then you make a decision. However you want to interpret that information, good news, bad news, however you want to do it, you interpret that news however you want to take it, and make a decision on the race to make a wager.
Well, that's I've been watching TVG a long time, and I think you guys are continuing to get better all the time. And thank you for joining us on Beach Boss. Reminder that today is the first non-4 o'clock Friday. First post is now 3:30. Days are getting a little bit shorter, and that's kind of sad because that means the meeting is coming to an end.
Yeah, but it's also it also gives you an opportunity, as sad as things are winding down for a summer at Del Mar. We also start coming up to one of my favorite times of the year when we get to the fall, and Breeders' Cups is going to be around the corner here before we know it. Those breakfast shows that we always do are so popular, and looking forward to that time of the year as well. So summer's winding down here at Del Mar, but Breeders' Cup being back here at Del Mar on November 5th and 6th is going to be something to see as well.
Big things coming, that's for sure. All right, well, good luck to you, Joaquin.
You too, Ray.
Appreciate your joining us today. I miss Michelle. I mean, it's just not the same without having somebody badgering me about a bad pick. Hopefully it won't be a bad pick this week. So we'll see you over the track.
Hopefully for both of us. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can have a $50 place bet on the horse. That's fine, on your horse, as long as mine wins.
Right. Thanks for having me, Ray.
All right. We'll see you next week with Michelle back, I hope.